Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all very much for joining us today. Myself, along with one of my colleagues from UC Santa Barbara, will be presenting this UCTAP webinar. My name is Kia Tan. I'm the Assistant Director of Transfer Admissions and Development Programs here at UC Merced. And also joining me is my colleague Melissa Chavez from UC Santa Barbara. She will be assisting me as a host, and so if you have any questions throughout this webinar, feel free to utilize the little, right here, there's a little bar that has a Q&A function. Feel free to utilize the Q&A function, and she will be able to assist me in answering questions for anyone who's joined us today. This program or webinar will be recorded, and so we are going to be using it and hosting it on the Umoja website, as well as hosting it on several other UC platforms as a resource for other community college counselors and students. So without further ado, I will go ahead and get started. All right, so just a quick program overview. So today we're going to cover UC Junior Transfer requirements, just as a refresher for any of you, or as introductory for any of you of what the UC admission requirements are. We'll go ahead and go over what assist.org is used for, and provide some updates on that tool as well. The benefits of the UCTAP tool for students, because this is a very important tool that UC has actually invested a lot of time in developing so that way students can use it to navigate their transfer route to UC. And then we'll go ahead and do a live demo of the UCTAP tool and walk you through how students can go ahead and create an account. So UC Junior Transfer Eligibility, this is applicable to all the UCs. These are the minimum eligibility requirements. We have something called the 7-course pattern, where we need our students who are interested in applying to UC to complete at least 2 transferable English composition courses at the community college, 1 transferable course in mathematics, and then 4 transferable college courses from at least 2 of the 3 subject area listed below. So arts and humanities, social and behavioral science, physical and biological science. So students must take a total of 4 courses from at least 2 of those 3 subject areas. Students need to acquire a total of 60 transferable units or 90 quarter units, depending on the type of community college they are attending, and at least have a 2.4 minimum transferable GPA. All of this, the UCTAP tool will be really instrumental in helping students understand if they're meeting these requirements or not. And that GPA, the 2.4, is including the major prep course that the student should be taking to be eligible for the UC. And it is important to note that although the GPA is a 2.4 for eligibility, it may be higher depending on the campus of interest for the student and also the major the student is interested in pursuing at the UC. UC transfer selection and academic preparation. So for many of our campuses, we require what we refer to as major preparation. Major preparation simply is taking courses that are in the major of interest that our faculty at UC have determined you need to complete prior to coming to UC. Some of these are required and sometimes these are recommended, but we highly recommend students start early in pursuing these courses because, again, at many of our campuses, these are sometimes requirements. Academic preparation, so students need to complete the English and the math requirement the fall that you apply to UC. So if you're interested in applying for fall 2020, then that means by this fall 2019, you would have completed at least the first level of transferable English and math. And then, of course, you must meet the selective GPA. Again, that 2.4 GPA is a minimum, but many of our campuses do require a higher GPA depending on the program and major of interest. IGETC. So a lot of students, I'm sure, at community college are familiar with IGETC, often referred to as the general education. IGETC is available at all the community colleges. The 7-course pattern, which we started with about at the beginning of this presentation, is built into IGETC. So should a student choose to complete IGETC, they also would have met our 7-course pattern. And in completing IGETC, students will satisfy all lower general education requirements at the UC. IGETC, however, is important to note that it is not a requirement for admission. Some campuses can use it as a selection criteria, but it is not a requirement for admission. So we really want to encourage students to make sure that they do focus on completing major preparation. Assist. So for many people, Assist is often the first place they'll go visit to see what are those courses that we are requiring students to take for major preparation. And again, for some of our campuses, this is a requirement, completing major preparation. But Assist is a tool that holds the repository of all the UC and the CSU and the community college articulation. Articulation is simply what is deemed transferable and meeting one of our course requirements at the UC or one of our requirements for admission. Students should visit assist.org regularly to make sure they're taking the appropriate major preparation courses. And these courses, again, they can use this resource to find the UC transferable eligibility courses as well. A few updates to Assist, though. Actually, I'm sorry, let me go ahead and backtrack a little bit before I go to the updates. But another great thing about the UCTAP tool is that the assist.org articulation agreements are actually built into the UCTAP tool. So students don't need to go between assist.org and UCTAP to determine if a course is transferable. The UCTAP tool actually utilizes the assist articulations already in the tool. And so students can simply enter the courses that they're taking, and if it is transferable, it will indicate that for them in the UCTAP tool. And when we do the live demo, I'll go ahead and show you how that actually looks like. The other great thing about the UCTAP tool is it is also integrated with the TAG application, the Transfer Admission Guarantee, and the UC application. So it's a great resource for students to go ahead and start entering their academic coursework at community college. And as they are checking off the boxes of meeting UC transfer admission eligibility, and once they identify that they have met all of it, it will feed right into the UC tag. If they're interested in applying for a tag at one of our 6 campuses that offer tags, there are 3 campuses that do not, and those are UC San Diego, UCLA, and UC Berkeley. The other 6 campuses do. Or if they want to just go ahead and use that to apply for the UC application, the academic information will merge right into the UC application. Now the update about Assist. So Assist Next Gen is the new Assist, and that should launch this May of 2019. In the meantime, if you're entering courses from the current academic year, 2018 and 19, or previous year, 2017 and 18, some may need to be entered in manually. So it's important to note that there is a little bit of an update to Assist, but we should have a new Assist Next Gen by May 2019. If you search for a course and it's not displayed on the UCTAP exactly as it is on your transcript, go ahead and add that course manually. On the back end, we can verify for ourselves at the UC if it is a UC transferable course. But like I said, by May 2019, Assist Next Gen should be fully functional, and it should then again, the articulated courses feed right into the UCTAP tool. So what are the benefits of using the TAP tool? It is designed to help prospective UC transfer students from community college track and plan their coursework. Students can, again, apply for a tag through the TAP tool, and it imports all their academic information into both the tag and the UC application. It lets you know what you've completed, and you can actually plan your courses. So you can put the courses you've taken and also input the courses you plan to take, and use the check. It's going to assess for you if you're meeting our eligibility. So you can use that to check off any of the requirements that you need to meet in order to be eligible to apply. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and move into a live demo. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen so I can bring up the website, and then we'll go ahead and start again from there. All right, so I'm just going to check and make sure everyone can actually see my screen. Okay, wonderful. So everyone can see the TAP screen. So we're going to go ahead and get started. This is the UCTAP website. It's a great resource, as mentioned, for students to input their courses. So for anyone who's going to start entering this, their academic information, they can do it at any point in their community college time. But we also highly, highly encourage students to do it even before they start, particularly for young students who are in high school and they're graduating and they know they're going to go to community college and they know they want to transfer to UC. They can go ahead and start entering that information even before they've started a community college, because oftentimes you register for your courses before you start community college. So for new students, you're going to go ahead and click here and create a new account. And you're going to enter all of this basic information in order to create the UCTAP. Because I'm Kia Tannen from UC Merced, for my alias, I'm going to go ahead and name this person Media Cat, because here at UC Merced, we are the Bobcats, and the Media Cats are actually some of our students who assist us in documenting a lot of the great work that we do here at UC Merced. If the student has a preferred name, they can enter that information here too, or if they have something that they prefer us to contact them by under, that would be great. So for my email, and then the student would enter their date of birth. So let's just say August 15, 2009, which is when UC Merced opened for, actually 2005. 2005 was when UC Merced opened for their first 4-year incoming class. And then they would create an IT. So this little function with all the green check marks tells you if you're meeting the security requirements in order to create your password. So I'm going to go ahead and change that because it was letting me know I wasn't meeting the security requirements. Then you'll identify a security question. So who was the last name of your 3rd grade teacher? Mine was Mrs. Jones. And then you're going to click here and agree to the terms of creating this account. The reason why we ask that is because the information that you put in here actually allows UC to contact you too. And so we want to make sure you're aware that by creating this account, you're also allowing us to reach out to you, because we do use the UCTAP tool to reach out to students, who may be a part of a certain program or a certain major that maybe some of our schools really want to outreach to. And so we want to make sure you are aware of that. And this tool can, and then information here can also be shared with your community college counselor, so that way they can better advise and support you as well. It says my emails do not match. What did I do? Oh, I added an extra T here. All right. Perfect. So now that you've created your UCTAP account, what's important to note is that when you get onto this page, it will always, right here in the gray box, let you know when the next filing period is. That's really a good reminder for students, so that way they know when to apply for admission. Some of our campuses are open in the spring term, so this would be when you would apply for a tag, and then when you would apply for the fall tag or the spring tag in the next filing period, which is in November. So we're going to go ahead and start entering our information. So it already pre-loaded information from when I started the account into this part, and then any new information I'll go ahead and I'll add. Important thing to note here too is that if you've been known by a different name legally, that you also indicate that information here. So for this person, I might say people also know me as Bobcat. And Cat is also my last name. And then your mailing address. All right, and then your phone number. Oops. And then if you have a secondary number you'd like us to contact you at. For the most part, UC does not actually call any of our students through the UCTAP. We utilize your email for the most part. And then entering your current school ID number. So I'm just going to create one because I don't necessarily have a current school ID number, but I wanted to do that. And then all right, and so for the demographic information, this is not used in the application review. This is really more for us to know what are the different types of students who are utilizing this resource. And again, at the UC, many of our campuses offer resources and services and special programs for certain populations. And so we really want to make sure we capture that information about a student as they create a TAP tool because, for example, we all have a veterans services at all of our campuses. And so if you identify that you're a veteran service and you're interested, we can actually reach out to you sooner and provide that information about our campuses and our veteran resources prior to you starting at the UC. So what language did I speak first? I will say English for this individual. Military status, none of the above. Foster care, if any of students who've been in the foster care system at any point in time in their adolescence or prior, they can go ahead and check this box and indicate that. All of our programs do have, all of our campuses do have some type of support program for foster youth as well. Parent education level. And then it's going to ask for, we want to know if the student is a dependent or an independent. And so that's really what this is identifying for us when we're asking this question. And again, that is because we have questions for, we have support for students who may be ward of the state or an independent or dependent. So there's lots of different resources, but this is really what it's just asking for. We again have some resources for single parents. So this is what this is asking for. And then as it relates to the income, the UCTAP tool is not the UC application. That's important to note. The UCTAP tool is really just trying to do an assessment of who are the students who are utilizing our resource. And it again helps us identify what resources we can reach out to them and provide them. So if you don't have the accurate or exact number for your family income, that's okay. You can always come back in here and enter it again later. Or if you have an estimate, you can enter it. And depending on at what time you're starting your UCTAP tool, you may even come back in here at a later time and update this information, depending on how long you're going to be at community college. All right. And then how would you describe yourself? So this allows the student to identify themselves however they choose. And then also, what was the sex that was assigned to you at birth? The following questions are going to be focused more on demographic, ethnic demographic. Again, this is how we identify what types of students are utilizing our resources. And there's no way, just so you know, to answer it correctly or wrong, or sorry, there's no way to answer it wrong because it's how you identify. Actually, let me go ahead and go back here a little bit. Or no, I think I'm okay. This next set of questions is going to ask you about any resources you're interested in. So this is not identifying if you are a student with dependents, or if you're an undocumented student, or if you're an LGBT student. The question is actually asking, are you interested in any of these resources? So we just want to make sure we provide resources to people who are interested in learning more about those resources. And this information does protect, the way that we ask the question does protect students, to ensure that if they check, I'm interested in undocumented student information, it really isn't asking if they're undocumented, and there's no way that that information can be used in any way to harm them, because I know that that can be a concern for some students. For me, I would be interested in knowing all of this information. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and indicate for, let me go ahead and it popped up over here. So I'm going to add a school. So I'm going to put, let's see, what is a high school? So I'm going to go ahead and select a high school and say I started here in August 2001. Graduated in June 2005. This would not be my most recent school. It's a public school, and whether or not you received a high school diploma or equivalent. Now we're going to go ahead and add a college or a university. So for this student, when I click that, I'm going to add a school, and this tool already pre-populates all the public community colleges, and I think it's just community college, and the CSUs and the UCs actually. So the student can just run down the list and identify what college they have attended. For this particular example, this student has attended Chaffey College. So let me go ahead and find Chaffey right here. All right, and this student started college in fall of 2000, so fall would be August 2017. And you would just put up to the most recent term that the student was in the college. So this student's going to go through to June 2019, and this would be the most recent school. It is a California Community College or California two-year college. There's also a variety of options that the student can choose from. The UCTAP tool does allow you to enter international or out-of-state coursework. You may have to actually manually type in what the school is called, because again, this tool is, we already pre-populated in there the California Community College, the CSUs, and the UCs. But we obviously know there's a variety of other types of schools, in-state and out-of-state, that students can attend. And so it does allow you to input that too, because when you're inputting your academic record, UC really wants to know the entire academic record, regardless if it was a community college, a private school, a tech school, an international school. So let me just go ahead and finish inputting the start information for this student. And then following your high school graduation, has there been a time where you're not enrolled? So for this student, based off of the age and when the student started school, the answer is yes. There was a time when the student was not enrolled in quite a number of years. And UC asks these information because we just want to make sure that you weren't enrolled somewhere else and omitting that information. It doesn't have to be an elaborate explanation. It just has to be a sentence or two. So for this student, I can say I was working from 2005 to 2017, and raising children. So that's clear enough. At the time of transfer, will you be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident? Again, this information is not used in the admission process. This is just to help us understand who the students are that are applying. And now I can move down. So I'm going to enter a term that I think I'm going to transfer. And again, you can change this throughout the time that you're using the TAP tool. So let's say I think I'm going to start probably by fall 2020. And this, you can indicate all campuses of interest or just one. It doesn't really matter at this point. We just are interested to know which campuses are you interested in attending. And if you have a major that you know for sure you really, really want to do there, that also helps, because myself as the UC Merced representative, I can actually go through my interface of what the UCTAP tool looks like for me and filter out by the types of students, types of majors, and then market and communicate and outreach to you specifically about that. So for this person, let's say they're interested in African American studies. And again, you can leave it as not sure, or you can select a major. It's totally optional, and it's just a planning tool. The next section is the student support program section. It says, please tell us about any student support programs that you have been or are currently participating in. So we really want to know, what have you participated in any of the programs listed below, not necessarily what are you interested in participating in, because for many of our campuses, these are the programs that we offer to transfer students. And so we can actually outreach to you and say, hey, you know, at UC Berkeley, we have our TAP Summer Enrichment Program, and we would like to invite you. And so after you've participated, you can come back to this page and you can check off that box. We also have additional support programs down here. So if you are a student who is a part of EAOP, Upward Bound, Mesa, Puente, so forth, you can check that off. We also have the Umoja African American Community College Program. We are aware that at a couple of the community colleges, it's not all called Umoja. And so you can select where you are participating in that program here. So again, because I'm a Chaffey College student in this profile, I'm going to go ahead and select Chaffey College again. I save and go next. Okay, now this is the part that we really want to make sure students get to. Just a few things before I get started right here, though, is the bar right up here. So up here, you can always navigate through this tool. My information, we just completed my message. This is where your counselors at your community college can actually message you. There are the UC created this tool in partnership with your community college counselors to ensure that they can use this information to advise you too. And so they can often message you through here and say, hey, come talk to me. I see you're interested in UC Santa Barbara. I see you're interested in this major. I want to make sure you're on track to take the right courses, right? So it's a really good tool to make sure you at least check back in at least once a semester, if not once every month, in case you have some messages. Now that we are on my coursework, though, I'm going to go ahead and enter my academic record. So for this student, I'm going to go ahead and select what term I'm going to enter. So I'm going to do fall 2017 at Chaffey College. And this tool is a smart tool. So you don't have to type in the whole entire name of your program or course that you're in. It's going to try to identify what it is that you've taken. So this student took English 475, right? So I typed in English and I can scroll down here and see if there's a 475, and there isn't. So I'm going to go ahead and select my course is not on this list and manually enter that. And so this tells the student that the course that they took, English 475, is not a transferable course, because everything that popped up on this list is fed through from that assist.org tool and is transferable. And as mentioned earlier, Assist Next Gen is going to launch May 2019. And so by that time, any of the new articulations that have taken place will then feed into this. So even if it is a transferable course, but it's not popping up because it was articulated in the last 2 years, students will manually enter it and they don't have to worry, because again, the tool will, once we get to May 2019, will update. So the course was called College Reading Writing Fundamentals, right? And then if the student already received a letter grade, they would select that, and the student received a letter grade of C, and it was a 4-unit course. So they're going to manually add that right there. And so you'll see there was, any red writing will say, explain the gap. And as mentioned earlier, this student had a large gap because the student worked from 2005 to 2017 and raised children. So you can save. And so myself, as someone who reviews this, will know, okay, this student didn't go to school. They were busy, as people say now, adulting, right? And so we're going to go ahead and continue to add the next course. The next course the student took was Comp Sci number 1, and you'll see Comp Sci number 1 actually pops up right here. So the student does not have to manually enter it. They just put the letter grade that they received, which was a B, and they can go ahead and add, and you'll see now both those courses are right there. The next course the student took was a guidance course, guidance number 2. So it's not here, so I'm going to go ahead and manually enter it. And that course was called Essentials of Student Success. In that course, student received a letter grade of an A, and the unit was 2. The next course the student took was a math course, and it was Math 25. It's right here, and this student received a letter grade of a C, and we're going to go ahead and add. And so you'll see right here, there is a column that says CERT with the little 1 right there. CERT means Assist Certified, meaning it's transferable. This student had 2 transferable courses in their first semester at Chaffey College. 2 courses were not transferable. And then right down here, it actually explains for them. So Assist Certified GPA, this would be similar to your UC GPA, right? Because we're only going to take the courses that are transferable to meet that minimum of a 2.4. Based off of those 2 courses, the student has a 2.42 and 7 transferable units in semester, or 10.5 in quarter units. Non-transferable, meaning courses that were not transferable to UC. This is the GPA, and these are the units and the overall. And then right down here, that 7-course pattern, right? The 2 English, 1 math, and then 4 courses in one of these 3 subject areas. The students already met one of those benchmarks. They have already met the math. So now I'm going to go ahead and enter the next semester, which would be spring 2018. And this student took an accounting course, and it was accounting 1A. This student received a letter grade of an A, and go ahead and add that. The next course the student took was actually an English course, and the student took English 1A. So this course right here, English 1A, is the first transferable course that a student can take to meet the English composition here at Chaffey. And this student did wonderful. He also received an A. The next course was a guidance course. Guidance 3 was what the student took this time, and the student received a letter grade of B+. And then the student also took a business course, and it was Business 10. And this student received a letter grade of an A+. The student did pretty well this semester. And then the student also took English 1B. So let me go and find 1B right here. And student received a letter grade of an A as well. So in one semester, the student actually took 2 English courses, which is possible. And then again, if we scroll down here, you will see under Assist Certified that GPA has moved up now because the student has much more courses that were transferable. The total units has also increased, right? And now the students met the benchmark of 2 English courses under the English composition section. They've met the benchmark for the math, right? So now the student really needs 4 courses in these 3 subject areas to meet that minimum 7-course eligibility, right? And then depending on the major, the student may have to take some major preparation as well. So we're going to move right into the summer. Summer 2018, so we'll leave that there. And this student took stats as well, so took stats 10, and this student received a letter grade of a B+. And then the student also took a course called in cinema, and it was cinema 25. Student received a letter grade of an A+. So once you get going, the tool is actually pretty easy to use because it pre-populates all the transferable coursework. And then we're going to move right into the fall now. So the student has now been in college for 1 year. And the student took, again, accounting courses. So accounting 1B. And this student received a letter grade of an A. And then the student also took a course in communication. So communication studies right here, and it was communication studies number 6. And the student received an A-. Student also took course in English again, and it was English 1C. And student received a letter grade of a B. Student also took an economics course, and it was Econ 2. And this student received a letter grade of an A-. And then the last course they took this semester was an Earth Science course. And it was Earth Science number 1. Student received a letter grade of a B. All right, so now reviewing again, this student now has 4 courses that meet the 4 courses they must take in the 3 different subject areas, right, in the letter grades. The student now has 46 transferable units and a 3.48 UC GPA, or a transferable GPA. So this student is actually well on track. And just based off of what the student has taken, I have a sense that perhaps the student is interested in either something in business or management, or probably communication or English, because that seems to be what they are taking. And so that student might transfer in one of those subject areas. All right, and then I wanted to show you before we move forward. So let's say now we're going into spring 2019, right? Because the student is now in this semester of spring 2019, and this student is taking another computer science course, right? So this course, now the student could check in progress, because obviously they don't have the grades for this term yet, but we can track all the courses that are also in progress, is what IP stands for. So it's important that the student logs back in every semester to update the letter grade. The student also took an anthropology course this semester. So again, we're going to select in progress. And then they're also taking the lab, which is also in progress. They're taking a course in American politics. So right here, it is also in progress. They're taking a course in business. So right here. Actually, wrong course. They're taking a course, this one, business law. So that's also in progress. They're now in Math 60, which is calculus for business. So this student probably really is interested in going into business. And they're now in another econ course. They're in econ 4, in progress. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and leave the academic portion here, just so that way we leave enough time to ask questions after this demo. But as you can see, by entering their academic record, the tool down here again calculates their assist certified GPA, which is the transferable coursework, their units in semester and quarter, and their non-assist certified GPA. So this student does really well in transferable coursework. Overall has a 3.3, which is what the student probably will see on their community college transcript. But this GPA right here is the one that UC is going to be looking for. And this student has met the 7-course pattern. So I'm going to save, go next. If the student while in high school did take any AP or IB tests, they can indicate that here, and this tool also will calculate for them if it meets one of our 7-course pattern and how many units. So hypothetically, let's just say this student took an AP test in May of 2005 when they graduated in art history and received a score of a 4. The tool will tell them a score of a 4 in 2005 meets one of our subject areas in the 7-course pattern, and it put it right down here because it is in the humanities, the arts and humanities. And they also get some units for that as well. So this is a really helpful tool for anybody who, again, in high school took any of these exams. What's great for your counselors is you can actually print this and go talk to your counselors afterwards and share this information with them, because now you can show them what you've done, what you're planning to do or what's in progress, right? And how UC is calculating all of that information, right? So it's a great tool. And if this student is interested and has met the tag requirements for one of our campuses, they can go ahead at this point and apply for a tag. And through that process, there's a tag matrix right here that the student can view, which really outlines all the specific information about each of the 6 campuses that do offer the tag. So please do review this before you submit your tag. And we go back right here. But the student can indicate if they're coming from Chaffey College, they're interested in applying for a tag, which campus they're interested in applying for. So let's say we're going to apply for UC Davis, and we're going to apply for business. Let's see if there's something for business here. Maybe not. Let's see. Maybe we do something in African American studies, right? Assuming the student took the right courses, and they could apply. It is important to note, though, right now is not the tag filing period. But when it is in September, the student could go ahead and do that information right here and submit for their tag through this tool. And when they're ready, they can go ahead and apply for admission, and it will take them right to the page where they can go ahead and start with their admission application. Right now, the UC application is not open, so that is why there's no link to actually apply right here. But it's a great tool, again, because it will feed all that academic record into the UC application. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. We are at 12:45, and I want to make sure that I can't have time to maybe answer any questions anyone might have. All right, so it looks like my colleague Melissa has done a great job at assisting in the answering questions. What I'd like to do right now is actually launch a poll. So you should see in front of you a poll, and so I can collect some information about your experience through this webinar, if you thought it was helpful, and also if you would like to us to do a UCTAP 2.0, maybe a community college educator version, where we demonstrate for you what the TAP tool looks like from the counselor perspective. Wonderful. So at this time, it appears no one has any questions. So as mentioned before, this webinar is being recorded. We will go ahead and save it, and we will share it with the Umoja community so they can also post it on their website. And then we'll also be hosting on some of our UC website as well as a resource. And we will be reaching out to those of you who participated to see if you are interested in us doing perhaps a second webinar about the UCTAP tool, but from the counselor interface, or having a UCTAP day at your site where maybe some of our colleagues can come and assist you as you help your students navigate the tool. I want to thank you very much for joining us today, and I want to thank my colleague Melissa from UC Santa Barbara for assisting, my colleague Dustin Noji, who also assisted us in hosting this webinar, and also the Umoja community for partnering with us, and UCOP as well. Thank you.